For the third target of the Season 4 Manhunt, we come up against a rogue agent going by the call sign, Magnus. What information will we find towards locating the Division's second wave acting commander, Faye Lau? Dustin XAVIER, codename Magnus, grew up in Atlanta, Georgia. A true patriot at heart, he went on to join the US military to do his part in fighting for and protecting his country. During his second tour in Afghanistan, his unit was struck by an improvised explosive device, and they were ambushed shortly after. After showing extraordinary heroism during this incident, he later received the Valorous Unit Award. It was at this point that he was approached by the SHD and recruited shortly thereafter. However, it wasn't long before he started questioning how well prepared the division was with their mission.
Xavier or Xavier or Javier?
Xavier.
Thanks. It annoys me when people don't know how to say Lau but have no problem with McGuire, McMahon, O'Shea, and Kavanaugh.
Fisher, Schneider, Muller might have something to say about that.
Your CO was German, right?
Very. Third generation. Kept insisting his family was never Nazis, which, you know.
The more you protest, the more likely you are exactly that thing.
Boys, let's show the lady what she's won.
Your unit in Afghanistan.
Yeah. We got hit by an IED. It happens.
Any residual trauma?
Just the normal. Gotta make sure it wasn't for nothing. That's how they got me. Just in case. We need you to join us, just in case. Most likely you'll never be activated, but just in case. You survive the worst, you can handle this.
No one can handle this.
We're just here to minimize the damage.
And hope there's something left when we're through.
And if there isn't, we will be the ones to rebuild it.
Looking forward to working with you, Magnus.
He came to the conclusion that the recruitment process was more about getting numbers and ticking boxes, rather than being adequately prepared for such an event to occur. And this was only further supported when he witnessed the lack of equipment and resources allocated to agents, and how hugely insufficient it was to handle the crisis at hand. Not long after his activation in Washington, D.C., Magnus was approached by Barden Schaefer.
You get it. We're the same.
You're a patriot, and you served your country same as me. We've seen what can happen when a weak leader rises to power.
We have. And I know that we can't rely on the government to save us. This thing moves too fast. You have to be agile. The wheels of government roll too slowly for something like this.
They're trying to use a scalpel when what we need is a sledgehammer.
I can be that hammer.
Magnus immediately recognized an individual with the same drive and objectives as himself. Someone who only wanted what was best for the country. So he would go on to join with the Black Tusk. Magnus would later be assigned to Faye Lau's unit of rogue agents, but his demeanor didn't exactly have him fitting in with the rest of the team.
Magnus?
Sup, Viper?
Gross.
What? I just said sup.
Yeah, I know what sup means.
Hey, you don't mean nothing. Unless you want it to mean something.
Gross.
Hey, you don't have to be like that.
And you don't have to be a disgusting human being, but here we are. I hope you get eclipsed.
Oh, that's fucked up. I just said sup, and you wish that keener shit on me? You're cold, Viper. I thought we were friends.
Being a soldier was all he knew. He was just there to do a job and work with the side that he believed had the country's best interests at heart. He wasn't there to prove himself. He hadn't been impacted by the failure of the government or the SHD. He hadn't witnessed tragedy or lost anyone close to him as a result. He simply found a team that he saw was more aligned with his goals and were better equipped to handle it. However, some of the ways he approached certain aspects of the organization wasn't necessarily appreciated by his colleagues. He just couldn't seem to comprehend that he wasn't in the military anymore, and his new comrades, from vastly different backgrounds, didn't seem to be overly fond of his banter and the ideas that he brought to the table.
I don't know why you keep pitching me your dumbass ideas.
My ideas aren't dumb. Who better than the people in the field? The ones using the gear to tell you what they want and need out of the gear.
Fine.
Okay, so stay with me. Think about it.
Think about what?
Give me a second. Okay, picture it. You're out in the field. You've got hostiles on your right and left.
Yeah, so it's a Tuesday.
You see an opportunity to run and slide into cover. But there's mud.
Yeah, somewhere in D.C. Lots of mud. Got it.
And you've only got one pair of pants.
So what do you want?
What if your knee pads had quick deploy shin and hip guards?
You want my sister to make knee pads that have quick deploy, sliding shin, and hip guards, so you don't have to wash mud off your pants?
Yeah! Think how awesome that would be!
Yeah. I'm not calling her for that.
When the time came, Magnus set forth executing his part in the operation. Taking his unit of BTSU, he started capturing locations of interest in the western districts of Washington, D.C. Multiple sites were captured in downtown West, Constitution Hall, and East End. But as has happened time and time again, the division were there to stop the rogue advances. The SHD were able to quickly and efficiently remove any trace of his movements in DC, and eventually caught up to him. Taken by surprise, he put up a valiant fight, but was no match for the agents. There's really not so much we can talk about with Magnus. I feel as though everything we saw pretty much sums him up. Brave soldier, loves his country, recruited by the SHD, didn't like what he saw and decided to instead follow someone who had similar goals to himself, in turn turning rogue, and was then hunted by the division and eliminated. To be fair, that probably sums up all of the seasons and manhunts up until now, but the majority have had something extra to add to the overall story, even if it was just about what they had witnessed that had them turning rogue in the first place. But not Magnus. He basically just chose to switch sides. He's probably best summed up as another example of the terrible recruitment system that the SHD has been using. Although an experienced and heroic soldier, he didn't seem to have the qualities to work and lead in a situation where there would be little to no support from the outside. And at the first opportunity, where a charismatic and strong leader approached him, he was quick to follow and change sides. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this summary. The next one will give us access to Faye Lau, so it will hopefully give us some insight into the future of where the division story is going. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers!